Hi, Julia Watts here. Thank you for joining me in my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be making a card with this background that I created in another video on the channel. And I put the link in the description for this video, or you can find it by looking at the Flawless Media, the Sentimentally Yours Flawless Media playlist. So this is my background with a resist technique. And we've got the colours of the luster pigment powders from Sentimentally Yours that we've used is Orchid Whisper and Olive and the Lagoon here. I think it's called Lagoon or Lagoon Pool. Right, so, and that's on the Sentimentally Yours black watercolour card. Or most of the products I'm using are available on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk, for shipping to UK addresses. So first of all, we're going to frame this, and I've got a stitched torn circle here, and see, it just about fits onto the stencil. The stencil is the Leafy Cascade, and I've just got some 2mm foam tape on there. So I'm just going to cut into the corners there to remove that, to make it nice and neat, just using my scissors at an angle to neaten it up. And it's always worth going for a piece of card that's bigger than you need, and then you can trim it down afterwards. So don't attempt to try and do it circle shaped. Then you've got nothing to hold onto if you do that. And this black watercolour card is very absorbent. I did throw quite a lot of water at it, as you'll see if you watch the other video back. So there we go. There's our background all. See, immediately when you take away the excess, it makes it something very interesting. I mean, you can use it so either way. I think it could be kind of sea themed if you use it that way. I mean, we're going to use it that way. And I've got another stitched torn circle here, and we're just going to glue that onto there. And this is the Elegant Ebony. You see the watercolour card is a true black, so you've got a really good match across the blacks with that card. And my frame is the pure white, again from Sentimentally Yours. Use some Sentimentally Yours PVA. I'm actually pushing the nozzle into the background so that I don't get great big globs of glue. It's a really good quick grab glue. Obviously, it doesn't really matter where you position your circle because you can just move it around. You do want to try and make sure that all your borders are roughly the same size though. So you're going to put that to one side, and then we're going to deal with some of the wet surfaces that we're going to be creating. So first of all, let's go for some leaves. So we've got, these are the leafy fronds, I think they're called. No, they're not. They're called floaty fronds. Again from Sentimentally Yours, and I've just cut these out of Elegant Ebony. You could cut it out of your watercolour card, whatever you prefer. And I could go with the pigment powders, but I'm just going to paint with some of the acrylic paint. This is the olive, because you've got an olive in the paints as well as an olive in the luster pigments. I'm just going to take a little bit from the lid and pop it onto my craft sheet. And just add a tiny bit of water, just so that it kind of moves around a little bit. And then we can just paint. And obviously it's a good idea to do yourself a swatch, so you can see how the colours look different on the black and on the white card, because some of them will look different. This is more a gold on the, a bit too much water there. This is a bit more goldy on the black card. Obviously, the less that you water it down, the more intense the colour is going to be. I do tend to add a little bit of water so that I can just be a bit quicker. These paints are highly pigmented. They are multi-surface paints, so they go on multiple surfaces as you'd expect. So grey board, MDF, fabric. They will cure on fabric over time without you having to add anything specifically for fabric. Last one. Excuse me, it does dry quite quickly as well, which is one of the plus points. Obviously, if you put a load of water on it, it's going to take a little longer to dry. Okay, so there's our leaves. And let's have a little bit more on that one. So if I hadn't have added water to it, the you get a higher concentration of the colour, obviously. Because I've got water in it, it's a little bit patchy in places, but I quite like that. So that's my Olive Grove. Make sure the lids click on nicely. Let's just clean up that mess there, and it will clean off your craft sheet very, very easily. Or you can use one of the indigo blue paint mats as well. Okay, so that's those. Then we're also going to paint a bit of grey board too. So this you can only get from Honeypot if they've got any left, Honeypot Crafts. So this is one of the new grey boards that were bought out for the work birthday weekend. I can't remember what it's called, but there's clocks, there's flourishes, there's all sorts on there. And I'm using the paint for this, I'm using is the Secret Lagoon. And we're going to go direct from the pot with this. Let's find another brush. You find that you've always got something in the lid that you can use. We're just going to go over the surface. So you don't need to prime your grey board before you put your paints on. It's a good idea to prime it before you, if you're going to use the pigments, the powders, because you're going to use more water. It's a water-based product. I mean, this is water-based as well, but water-based acrylic. But because it'd be more watered down and the powders react differently, like the paints on black and white card, you'll find that you get a better coverage if you prime it, if you're using the powders. But you don't need to prime it for the paint because the paint is so pigmented. I mean, the powders are as well, but obviously you need to add something to the powders. Interestingly enough, if you wanted a lighter version of this, you could either mix in some of the Luna metallic paint, or you could add some of the Luna Pearl powders, and that will lighten it. But when that's drying at the moment, be dry soon, and that'll have a lovely pearlescent sheen to it. So that's that one, and we'll keep the paint out for a minute. Let's just wipe my mess up. One more thing, I don't know if I'm going to use this yet or not, but it's a cool technique. So I've got a bit of glitter on my paintbrush there. Okay, so it gets everywhere. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to use this one. This is a bit of grey board that's from the compendium box kit, but we don't need that brush actually. But we're just going to add a little bit of texture to it because it's quite a nice technique to do. So we're going to use all three of the pots of paint. So we've got the olive, the Secret Lagoon, and we've also going to use the hot pink. And so these three colours of paint kind of coordinate with the powders that I've used. Oh, my fingers. I was getting a mess when I opened the paint. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start with the decisions. This is the hard things, knowing which one to start with. Let's start with the pink, shall we? No, let's no, I changed my mind. Let's start with this one, the Secret Lagoon. And I'm just going to use a stencil brush, and I'm just going to stipple on some paint to cover it. Now you can, if you've got some of the Pentart fine 3D balls, you can add some of this to the paint and give it more texture that way. But I've just stippled some of that on. That there for a minute. Then I'm going to take my heat tool, which is all tangled up, and I'm going to heat it. I mean, it will dry like that, but we want to heat it because we want to get it moving a little bit. So obviously this is the first layer. And I don't know if you can see there, but you can see where it's thicker. I'll hold it up. You can see where it's thicker. You've got a little bit of texture going on there. Hopefully you can see. So now we're going to go for another colour. So obviously a different stencil brush. So let's go for the olive. And I want a little bit more than that. I'm greedy. Not that much though. And then we're going to stipple some of that over, but we don't want to go over the whole area. See, we've got quite some big peaks in that, which is perfect. It's just what I want. I'm going to do my postal later. I mean, because it's grey board, it's quite light, so it makes it perfect for your card making, but it does mean that it'll flow along the face. And now we've got more texture going on. And it's a butterfly, so if you wanted to make it symmetrical, you absolutely could. Quite cool, isn't it, the way it kind of bubbles up. And sometimes it will pop as well, which is quite nice. So now look at the I mean, it will kind of settle down as it dries, but now look at the texture going on there. We've got some real dimension going on there. Okay. So now we're going to go for the little bit of the pink. More than that. I want it to be dimensional, so let's go in the pot. Okay. I'm just keeping my brushes out just in case I want to do some more. I put my poker tool down somewhere. There it is. And see the green is still moving because the green's still wet. I quite like that. I'm going to stop it. I'm not going to actually add any more, I don't think. We could go back in with the Secret Lagoon again if we wanted to. But I think I'm going to stop at that because it's just a little interesting embellishment. So that's that. Get rid of these. It's just a fun thing to do. Wait for the pop. And the last one. Right, these are all dry now. It doesn't take long. Obviously you can see it's more gold on the black. That's the green. Okay, so that's those, and we just need to do one other thing that's going to dry. Yeah, that's pretty much dry as well. So we've got our flowers. You believe I've got a little bit of paint on my background? I think I'm going to be all right now. Yeah, I want to cover it up. Right, okay, so we've got some flowers here, and I've got the stamp of sentiment, and I've got a statement. Right, so we're going to go for a piece of copy paper. And we're going to be using the Luster Pigment Powder. This is your Lagoon Pool. I always keep mine upside down so I can see what the colours are. So give it a tap before you open it. And then we're going to dust some and spread it around onto the copy paper. Should be enough. If it isn't, I can come and get some more. These are little dusting brushes. I sell them in a pack of 3, Cosmic Shimmer ones, and they are really lovely and soft. You don't wash them. You just to change the colour, you just flick them. You need them nice and dry, and then we want our stamp, which I should put on the block first. I'm using the Tray Chic Mandala Crackle DL stamp. Put this onto a DL block, which is a Sentimentally Yours DL block. So when you put it on, because it's a big stamp, it's a good idea to roll it on like that, so you don't get any air bubbles. Now I've only got 2 flowers here because I've done my flowers already, but normally I'd make sure the whole thing was covered. All you need to do is rub your stamp into the powder, and you'll be able to see. I mean, sometimes some colours do stain your stamp, and you'll be able to see where your coverage is. Now I'm quite gappy in the middle, so I'm going to add some more powder. Don't be frightened of using your powder, because I mean the pots are large. They are 25mm pots, so you know, don't be scared of using it, because the worst value of something is to not use it, isn't it? So they are such good value as well. So again, we're going to just rub this in to the gaps there and hopefully get it all. So we've got a good coverage. So I've still got some gaps. So again, I would go with some more powder, but we've got quite a good coverage there. So we'll focus on that area there. So this here now, if you wanted to, you could actually kind of mist it with water and that will settle it. And you can actually kind of, if you wanted to do some like your tea bag folding or something like that when it's dry, you can definitely use that. Or of course you could actually put it on card rather than paper and use your card. So let's just mist this with water. Oh, that's an oxide. There's my mister. These are one of the new Sentimentally Yours ones. So I'm going to just move away so I don't spray the camera, and what I'm doing is I'm giving it a good old damping. Sometimes more is more with the misting, because if you have too little it doesn't really work. And normally I'd do it on a piece of paper, but I'm going to do it here so I can actually see where we're going and actually see the flowers. So let's go about there. Remember, I'm not probably as covered as I would have liked to have been. Now, I did manage to get all 6 flowers out of this DL in 3 different sizes. Give it a good old press. So what we've effectively done, because we've misted the powder with water, we've made the powder into paint. And we have in here now some stamped images. That's quite pale, that one. That one's a bit better. So obviously if you put more on, that's not a very good example. I'll show you the flowers I've made. If you put more on, more powder on, then you get it deeper. I mean, these are quite subtle. They'll be lovely when they're dry. Okay, so that's they. And this will just wash off with water. What I tend to do is use a little nail brush and wash it off. You can go again, you know, so you want it to be dry before you put some more powder on. So give it a tap, and if you want to put some more powder on, you absolutely can. So that's that. And so I've done my flowers. Then for the centre of my flowers, what I've got is one of the stamens from the Sentimentally Yours stamen set. And Phil did hint the other day that he's not ordering any more of these because there's another set coming. So in my palette, I've got, these are all my luster powders, which are in the set that they originally were on the TV. And I've got a mixed one here that's Lilac Bouquet and Lunar Pearl. So whenever I'm going to mix any together, which I haven't done yet, I'm going to label those as well. So we want the Orchid Whisper, which is down here. And if you just store it like this and label it, then you can always keep on going back in again and reusing, which is quite a nice thing to do. It saves you wasting anything. So we're having Orchid Whisper, and we're going to just paint our stamens the Orchid Whisper. So these so the colours I'm using are obviously just to coordinate with my background that I've done. We could have used the what was it, hot pink. Could have used the hot pink paint instead if you wanted to. So, you know, you can mix and match across your powders and your paints quite nicely. And do leave that open to set down again rather than having it move around. As water evaporates, the powders just set down to like a solid watercolour again, and then you just reactivate them. Right, that's that. So we're nearly there. We're nearly at construction point. There's a couple of things that we need to do before I forget, because I do tend to forget things. I'll show you how to shape the flowers when those are dry. So on my background piece, and this is a stitch torn square, there aren't any in stock at the moment, and Honeypot Crafts don't have them either, but Phil will be ordering some towards the end of the year. But I wanted to use a square. You could use your double deboss or your eyelet or inverted corners, whatever you want. And I'm going to go into a bigger stamping platform. This is a Hampton Arts, but the Press to Impress one is the one that I've got in stock. So we're going to stamp an icon in the corner. So let's get some more magnets. Just because I like my magnets. What did I do with my icons? We're going to use this Tray Chic Mandalas, Bordens and Icons set. And I think we might go for this beautiful rose here. We could go for the smaller one. Let's try this one first. See if it fits with my circle. No, it's too big. So let's go for one of the other style icons instead. So let's try this one, and we can point the point of the icon into the corner like so. And I'm just going to do this in Nocturne Versifying Clair. You could, of course, if you wanted to, rub it in the powder and do it to coordinate, but because we are using black and white card with the colours from the paints and the pigments, we're just going to go for black. I need to stamp my sentiment as well. So there is quite a lot to this card, but I think it's quite fun to do. It's like a bit of a showstopper, or it will be hopefully by the time we finish. Let that lift off. Yep. And let's see if we can get this in the same position. So obviously these stitched on squares, they ought to fit the same, but they might not because of the torn edges. So let's see how that would look in the corner. Let me just have a look. Yeah, that'll do. Not too precious about it. This one just screams pattern building to me because of that point there. I must do that at some point. I might do a little tiny video of it. So if you're not already a subscriber, it would be wonderful if you could subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can stream live. And by we, I mean myself and Phil Martin. So obviously you're on my channel, so you know what it is. And so if you're not a subscriber, it would be wonderful if you would. And Phil's channel is Crafting with Phil Martin and Sentimentally Yours. So go and give him a subscribe and a like as well. It'd be lovely. So look at that one. That one looks good. Because we've got the bumps here, sometimes it's difficult to see that you've actually got it straight, but it's working perfectly. It's behaving itself, although I'm not. I'm making quite a mess that you can't see, thank goodness. I'm quite a messy stamper. Okay, one more and then we're done. Just need to stamp the sentiment and then we will be constructing, which is the fun part. So this is the largest of the stitched torn squares that I'm using, and the finished card is with the mats and layers is 8 1/4 inch square. So you can just tone it down a little bit and then you'll get it on an 8-inch square card quite easily. There we go, it says our 4 corners done. Magnets everywhere. There's another one somewhere. I don't know where that one went. Oh, there it is. Right, so that's that. And well, let's do our sentiment while we've got the ink out. So I'm going to use one of the little mini sentiments. Again from Tray Chic. I'm going to use, this is from the Mandala Circle Frames and Mini Sentiments. Now, I could do a circle frame, but this clock that I've painted is going to be my frame, as opposed to one of these. So we're not going to do that, but we are going to pick one of these. So again, one of the stitched torn circles, and we can see that the mini sentiments are all going to fit in there really nicely. I think we will go for with Very Best Wishes because I like that one, and it kind of fills the area up quite nicely. And we're going to go this freestyle because I've cut out already, there's not much space for me to pop my magnets, and quite often these little tiny die cuts move. So if you're worried about getting things central, just stamp first and then die cut. So we're just going to go in there like so. Let the ink settle into the card. And there we go. That's that. Now construction. Yay. So I'm not, before when when I did a Facebook Live with another one of the finished backgrounds, I did actually edge the pieces with some of the powder, paint powder, but I'm not going to this time. I'm just going to leave it white so it's a good contrast, because I didn't do it on the circle frame, so we're not going to do it on any of them. But you absolutely can. You can just get like a kitchen sponge and just dip it into your watercolour paint that you've created, or you can dip it into the metallic paint as well and do that, and just use them like you would a distress ink to edge things. That's going on my black card like so. Let me just see if that's straight. As straight as a torn edge can be. bit of press. Hopefully my mat's clean-ish. And we're going to go for 2mm tape on this. Give it a bit of dimension. If you add a bit of dimension, it does make your card look a little bit more expensive. And let's face it, if you've actually spent time making a wonderful card, I don't think it matters that it's going to be a large letter when you post it. Oops. Most of my things are large letter that I send out anyway. Okay. It always rips when you don't want it to. That's one. And then we've got this. This would be my card blank. Obviously it isn't because it's just a waste card. But you'd put that on your 8x8 card blank. Then we'll come in with this piece here. I think we will leave that flat actually, because we've got quite a bit of dimension going on there anyway. We will make sure it's straight as opposed to wonky. You could do it wonky, you could do it on the diagonal as well as vertically or horizontally, wherever rocks your boat. I must remember to show you how to shape the flowers very quickly as well. Let's have our Orchid Whisper on the left, like so. Give it a good old press so it doesn't come up in the middle. Okay, then we're going to have our clock, our grey board. The glue is strong enough to adhere it. I'm just going to dab some of that glue off so it's not, doesn't ooze. And as it's a clock, we want to make sure that we've got our 12 at the top. Otherwise you drive me nuts. In the grey board as well, you do get, that's 12, you do get the clock, what are they called? Handles, yeah, you do get those as well, but obviously because we're putting our sentiment in the middle, we don't want that. So let's pop our sentiment in. Again, I'll put it on the 2mm foam tape, and then it will be the same height as the frame. Like so. And then we just put that to one side while we do the flowers. So my flowers, which are very much paler than the ones that I did originally. I knew I should have done the whole thing, but they're still mottled. So take your tweezers, and we're just going to fold around the points of your tweezers. These are the Sentimentally Yours tweezers that are sold in a pack of 3. Again, on my website. The Elegance flowers I don't have in stock. I've sold out of all of those, but you might find them on Honeypot Crafts if there's any left. Because some of these were the original flower shapes that Phil did. So we've got 2 of those like so. These are the proper ones. Then on a moulding mat of some sort, we can pop, let's have this one at the bottom, glue in the centre and just offset them like so. And use one of my Vasson Creative tools. And because when you use wet glue, your flowers do tend to keep the shape, which is really good. which is what you want. Now, where's my stamen? There's my stamen. So it's the stamens, just run your ball tool around the centre and it pops up. So then we can pop a bit of glue in the centre again. Pop your stamen in. Give it a press, like so. And then this is what flattens them out a little bit. This is your Crystal Gemporium Obsidian. You can only get these from Honeypot Crafts. And they're 5mm and they are 8mm. I have a pickup tool sold in packs of 2. I do have these on my website. The products, you'll find the products either on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk, or from honeypotcrafts.co.uk. I only ship to UK addresses though. Far too much glue, but that's fine. It does dry clear and matte, so just give that a press. Don't press down with your poker tool. That's not how to do it. I need to clean that off now. It's stuck to my finger. Oh dear. Yeah, give that a press. Stay. Okay, so there's my flower. And then these are the ones that I've done earlier, which are just a little bit darker because there is a bit more powder on. Okay, so let's finish constructing. So just add the pretties in there. And of course I've got this as well, my butterfly. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use that or not. I did say at the beginning I wasn't sure whether I was going to use it. And I'm still not sure. Okay, so let's see where we're going to put everything. So we're going to have, I think, normally I do top left and bottom right. I think I'm going to go the other way around. So I think we're going to have our leaves here, like so, and up there. Check it all in view, like that. And then we have 2 flowers and 1 flower, and we might bring in the butterfly just here. I don't know, but we'll see. Right, let's get our leaves on. I think that putting the flowers and leaves on is the most fun, but it's the most boring to watch. So I do apologise. It's just quicker if you get your glue on everything first. And let's put some glue on the back of these as well. That's the bigger one. So I got all of my flowers stamped just from the 1DL stamp, just the one pass. So I think we'll have 2 down here. Like that. And because of the water that I added to the paint, the leaves are lifting up a little bit, which I do quite like that. They might flatten down in time, but I do quite like that. Around my frame. I mean, obviously you could add stamped pieces to the frame as well, but I'm not going to on this case. So let's put the one big flower up there. Let's move that just a little bit. Like that. So we haven't got quite so much leaf coming out. I mean, you could add some little flowers in there. It might look nice with some extra little flowers. And we're going to add the 2 down here, like so. And that's it. Let's see what it looks like on the overhead. Yeah, happy with that. So, oh, I'm going to put this, not it, is it? Let's see if I want to have him in here. I might want to have my butterfly in. Let's see what that looks like. Do I want to? I'm very undecided here. See, when we do Facebook Lives, people say to me, yes or no. I can't see that up there. Let me move. Let's put it there. think. Yeah, let's add it in. We've made it, so let's add it in. I have got loads of videos I'm going to record for this channel, so I do hope that you'll join me for some of the other ones. I do have another background that I need to deal with that I recorded on the techniques video. Okay. Yeah, so that's it now. That's everything I've got around me that I intended to put on it, and it's all on there now. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and remember, you can find the products on juliawattscrafts.uk or honeypotcrafts.co.uk, and I hope you like it. Give me a like and a comment, which would be lovely. Thanks very much. Bye.